What's up, Rawcast? Here again with you. And holy shit, I know it's late in coming because the election was on the 3rd, but I am relieved as a mail carrier that the political mailers are behind us. And that's about the sum of it. You know, technically, the presidential election hasn't been decided. You know, none of the states have certified the vote. And so it's perceived that Joe Biden's the winner. And I don't really know how I feel about that. I will admit, I voted for Joe Biden, but it was not a joyful experience. It was not something that I necessarily looked forward to. You know, I had a horse in the race back in the primary, but that did not play out the way I had hoped. Everything played out the way I had expected it to. But I would like to point out that I didn't necessarily vote for Joe Biden. I voted against Trump. And I did my homework, folks. I went back and looked, back in 2015, I did my homework on Donald J. Trump. And I didn't like what I saw. And so, would I say that I'm a never Trumper? Well, I would never vote for him, but I also acknowledge that, yes, in 2016, he became the 45th president, and he's the president of the United States. It also put a sour taste in my mouth in regards to American politics, but I don't think that Trump was the problem, necessarily. I think that Trump was a symptom of a much larger problem that the American political system faces. And that's too little faith is placed into it by the working people, by the American people. In college, I considered myself a Democrat, and I've gotten away from that idea because it's quite obvious to me that people like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer have been on Capitol Hill for so long that they've lost touch with what it means to be an average citizen struggling to make ends meet, keeping the lights on, keeping a roof over the head, keeping a vehicle running on the road so they can get to their fucking low-paying job. Basically, the party that Bill Clinton took the reins of and did a shakeup to cozy up to Wall Street, the neoliberal corporatist policies that we see do nothing for the people. Look at the COVID relief bill, where something like 84% of the relief money actually went to corporations and banks. Did that really help anything at all whatsoever for the people? I can hear my phone ringing upstairs. Ugh. If one of the kids answers it and brings it down, I'm debating, depending on who it is, I might just have a conversation on the air. We'll see how it goes. But I can't help myself when it comes to the social media stuff. I'm so cynical now because the Democratic Party has basically given the finger to the true progressives. There is no progressive wing of the Democratic Party. It's like hey, you can come to the party, but you shut the fuck up and sit in the corner. And if you want anything to drink, you need to ask nicely and beg. And so I don't feel like there is anybody in politics or on the federal level that represents my interests. Even in my own 3rd congressional district in Wisconsin, it's a very unexciting congressman that we have in Ron Kind, who, despite dozens of attempts to contact his office, I've never so much as received a return call, email, direct message, nothing. I feel like Congressman Kind has gotten complacent. But so back to the presidential election, I don't feel like anything's going to fundamentally change. I know a lot of people feel hope at the very least because unless something really fucked up happens where they do somehow find massive fraud, which I highly doubt. Why would they go ahead and rig the presidential election but not do anything, like allow the Democrats to not take the majority in the Senate, or actually have the Democrats lose seats in the House of Representatives? I mean, do you think that was a necessary enough action? Like, well, guys, we can only rig it on the presidential level, but let's lose our our margin of majority in the House and then not take over the Senate because then it's more believable. What's the fucking purpose? In fact, it would be better for Joe Biden and the Democrats if the Republicans held on to the Senate, because then Joe Biden can coast for 4 years and just blame it on the Republican Senate for holding up the works. And so, because realistically, Joe Biden's going to be the champion of incrementalism. You know, nothing's going to fundamentally change in regards to healthcare. You know, he's already cozied up to Wall Street and Big Pharma, so not much is going to change there, but he has more tact and exercises more civility than Donald Trump ever has or ever could exercise himself. Which is funny to say because Trump definitely doesn't fucking exercise. That's a given. But I'm just a disenchanted American voter in regards to regards to politics, not necessarily elections, but politics overall. Because this two-party system, look at the vote counts. We're talking the popular vote, the individual voters. Yeah, Joe Biden was up by 4.5 million at the time of this recording. But given what we've seen over the last 4 years, in the fact that Joe Biden is basically a moderate Republican in all but name, this election was far too close. I don't even know what to think about that. To me, that's a signal. When you look at the number of votes cast, 70 million people voting for Donald Trump despite the last 4 years, tells me that we are a long cry away from actually seeing real signs of unity and healing in this country. And do I think that Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer are going to be the ones to lead the way into the future of a more united country? Fuck no. I don't see that being the case whatsoever. And so if we don't see some really fucked up, like Nazi court-ish kind of shit going on, so that the results that have been declared by the media organizations are flipped and Donald Trump somehow retains the presidency through litigation in the judiciary, that's just going to be completely fucked up. I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath. I'll deal with things as they come. I mean, Joe Biden is just a tiny bit better than Donald Trump, because for a lot of neoliberal Democrats, it's going to soothe their fears that they're not going to have to worry every single day about basically denigration, losing their Social Security, yada, yada, yada. At least that's what they claim, despite the fact that back in the 90s, Joe Biden was totally happy cutting Social Security. And so, man, it is just fucked up. For me, this disenchantment that I've been dealing with watching the Democratic Party completely fucking ignore real people, real progressives, actually working hard to fucking silence the progressives that are in politics, in these elected offices. It made me very, very, very fucking cynical. And I'll admit, I have more fun making fun of the conservative side because of how ludicrous it can be. I used to be a member of the NRA, and I only did so to kind of get on the inside and see what was going on. I am a gun owner. I'm a responsible gun owner. I don't feel like I need 150 fucking guns in my house. I got something like 4, I think. Predominantly used for hunting, and one is basically a backup for home defense should the need ever arise. But I do have a lot of fun making fun of the conservative side because I live in a conservative area. So um, the typical fucking jokes about inbreeding big dumb trucks, where I say that basically if you can't use your crayons to color in the lines, Maynard, you probably shouldn't have a big fucking truck on the road. But it's more fun for me to make fun of conservatives than it is liberals. Plus, right now with the political correctness stuff, like, you are much more likely to be attacked on social media if you make any sort of criticisms of the LGBT community. um, that alone, I mean, then I look at it like how the LGBT community has been attacked. Like, I would prefer to punch up rather than punch down. Like, there are times where, yes, you can get a good chuckle about a liberal notion when they're going too far. Like, gosh, I don't know. Like, when they did the Chaz or whatever out west, I thought that, I was like, that's interesting. Let's see how this plays out. I wasn't married to a concept of like, I need to support this or I need to condemn this. I'm far away from the struggles they were having out there. And I'll admit that in part that is due to my privilege, my white privilege. I can pretty much go anywhere up in my neck of the woods and nobody's going to look twice at me other than to maybe make a short joke or a fat joke. But beyond that, I'm not going to be run out of town for the color of my skin. I'm not going to have to hide my sexual orientation for fear of being beat to shit because somebody's just too fucking ape-like or caveman-like to accept things for how they are. And so realistically, where I live, yes, the conservatives have the power. And so, yeah, I'm going to make fun of conservatives much more than I will make fun of liberals. Though I'm perfectly fine making fun of the Democratic Party, making fun of Nancy Pelosi. I just made a meme the other day making fun of Nancy Pelosi. But I find more joy in making fun of the conservative side. And what's funny to me is like we have gotten ourselves down into the two-party system where it's either this or that, black or white, and it's become so simplistic that it's disgusting to me. Whereas I'm constantly trying to expand my attention span. I'm finding that more and more people that I talk to on a regular basis have an issue with short attention spans, and so they have to boil down every single thing into a almost disgustingly simplistic fashion. Like, when it comes to abortion, I don't have to be 100% for it or 100% against it. Without actually telling you my views on abortion, abortion is a highly complex topic, and there are a lot of variables to consider. So for the fact that you can just be like, well, the Bible tells me that it's bad, that's a very simplistic fucking view, and I hope you don't eat your crayons when you're coloring outside the lines there, special guy. It's very frustrating. And so, since November 3rd, I've already shared a couple posts or memes making fun of Joe Biden. I've done the same for the conservative side. And for a while, what I was planning on doing with Rawcast, like this last summer, I came up with the character Uncle Dick, who was just going to be this like meat-headed fucking diehard Republican. And I went so far as to creating the character. And so we duct taped an American flag up in our basement. I put on a flannel shirt. I took a camouflaged hat, but it had a logo on the front, and I didn't want to have any trouble with that, so I put duct tape over the logo. And my facial hair was very unkempt. And then I had reading glasses that somebody bent out of shape. I'm assuming it was my 2-year-old. It doesn't really matter because the fact that they were bent out of shape, when I put them on, it made me look even fucking dumber. And so it was perfect. So I mean, the things that you look at in that photo are mine. That's my flannel shirt. Those are my reading glasses. That's my camouflage hat. That's my 12 gauge shotgun. And that actually is my Bible from when I was in confirmation and was forced to be a Christian. And so I basically created the character and took that picture and was developing like how the character would talk. I made one video that I only shared with a couple people because it was like beta testing the character. But I got so sick of the political issues going on, like with on social media specifically, that I just didn't do anything with the character. But after this election, I thought it was fucking hilarious. So there I am, with holding a 12 gauge shotgun in the Bible with a camouflage hat, flannel shirt, glasses bent to fucking shit, standing in front of an American flag, and I got a huge dip of chew in my mouth. So I look completely fucking inbred and dumb as a rock. And I made that my profile picture. Anybody that actually knows me, that's friends with me on Facebook, thinks it's fucking hilarious. And I think it's fucking hilarious because, as I've said before, I do listen to Fox News. I do listen to Rush Limbaugh, not because I agree, but because I want to hear the talking points on both sides of the aisle. And let's be real, whether I watch CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, doesn't matter. I walk away going, ugh. Because I don't feel like anybody's truly representing the interests of the people. Nowadays, people like Nancy Pelosi aren't even bothering to give us, the real people, lip service. There was a time when the Democratic Party would at least give us lip service, and now we don't even get that. But what I didn't realize was how simplistic people can be. And, it's either red or blue. You're either Democrat or you're Republican. If you fall anywhere in between, well, then you're just a pussy because you haven't committed to making a decision on which side you were going to support. And to follow up me changing that profile picture to me looking like a redneck dumbass, I included a post where I was like pretending that I was being lost to the Republican Party. And what I had said was, help, I updated my profile pic and now my ears is itching for Toby Keith. Somebody put a boot up my ass the American way, please. And this was obviously a joke. People who have worked with me, friends and family members, should know that I'm obviously kidding because, let's be real, nothing against Toby Keith as a person. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I fucking hate Toby Keith's music, and I have ever since I first heard a Toby Keith song because I'm not into that kind of fucking music. And it also irks the hell out of me that when George W. Bush was president, the Defense Department actually paid Toby Keith to, like, tax dollars went to Toby Keith to make fucking music videos because we needed to unite the country behind the goddamn America, go beat them towel heads attitude, which I also didn't fucking agree with. And so it irked me on more levels than just hearing fucking twang twang up in my ears. But I was surprised at how many people didn't understand that I was fucking joking around with that. Like, I thought my sarcasm was clear enough. I thought that it's quite clear that my cynicism has led to a satire or parody enough that people could get a chuckle out of it. But then we had to go one step further. It's not just that people liked my Toby Keith comment as if I was sincere, because the people who did actually like it, as in, like, good job, Toby Keith, they fucking should know better that I can't stand Toby Keith's music. I fucking think he sucks. If I ever met him in person, I'd probably buy him a beer. But he's got enough money, he should buy me a beer since my taxes helped pay for one of his fucking music videos. But I did have somebody from my past hit me up, and I thought this was one of the dumbest fucking things I had ever heard. So I woke up this morning to a message from somebody I have not talked to in over a decade. And they basically did the half-ass greeting. Hey, how you been? I got a question for you. It's like, oh, what's up? And this person says, I remember unfriending you on Facebook a while ago as you were on the obnoxious side of the left with your posts. I see now it seems you lean more right, unless I'm wrong, but why the change, if you don't mind me asking? Well, first off, thank you for telling me that you unfriended me because you thought I was obnoxious for my political opinion. I didn't realize that we couldn't be friends with people who think differently politically. There's nothing wrong with being economically conservative. Like, I understand that if somebody is racist, I don't want to have anything to do with them. I'm not racist. And my kids and I have had discussions about racism and how disgusting it is that anybody can fucking hate somebody else based on the color of their skin or their fucking religion. Basically anything that's protected under, what is it, Title IX, something like that. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. I'm shooting from the hip on this one. But Jesus fucking Christ, the fact that I have people who won't talk to me because I don't believe in Jesus. I have people who don't want to associate with me because I have some liberal ideas. And to me, liberalism is basically being open to new ideas and adjusting the norm. When it comes to traditional conservative values, I see those values and basically those traditions as being nothing more than fucking peer pressure from dead people, yo. Like, I don't know if I've said it on the show before, but it's like, well, this is the tradition. Yeah, well, traditions can fucking change. It used to be not necessarily like a celebrated tradition, but we used to wipe our asses with fucking leaves and pine cones, and we've kind of come a long way from that, right? Jesus fucking Christ. Why? So it's like, hey, I haven't talked to you in over 10 years because I didn't like that you were open about your political opinion and about not, like, and I remember that. I've deleted the post, but if you go back, and we're talking, we're going back to when I was 20, so we're talking almost 12 years ago. At the time, what I was talking about was basically legalizing marijuana, supporting gay marriage equality, gay marriage rights, like LGBT rights. It's not fair, in my opinion, to basically, like, if you are trying to reduce the rights of another person simply because of your religion, I don't fucking agree with that. And so, like, basically, when I decided that I was no longer Christian because I felt like the religion itself had been bastardized, nothing to say against people who have faith. Faith can be a powerful thing. But religion, the bureaucratic political arm of that faith, getting in bed with government is no for me. So the fact that I talked about how I wasn't identifying as a Christian anymore, I supported gay marriage, I wanted marijuana legalized, and I was open to the ideas of universal health care and universal education, this person unfriended me. And a few years ago, we went on to almost 10 years of not talking. Then this person re-added me on Facebook, still didn't talk for another couple of years. And then after I post some shit that is obviously joking and making fun of the average conservative person in my fucking area, like, the only thing missing from that picture was like a beefed up, rusted out fucking truck. Now this person is like, I like the cut of your jib. Like, no, but even then, like, hey, how are you doing? Like, great, how are you? You want to grab coffee sometime? Like, oh, hey, yep, blah, blah. No, this person asked how I was just long enough to like verify their own fucking uh predisposition to my former liberal beliefs in their head. And then once I replied, it has now been almost 24 hours. Uh, um, so basically, this person only reached out because it's like, hey, he seems like a conservative now. So either he was looking for information to be like, oh, he came to his senses, or oh, now I can be his friend again. But I had replied with, I'm still fairly liberal, but the Democratic Party's corporatist nature just got to be too irritating. I don't think they give a shit about the people who vote for them. And couple that with how ridiculous the cancel culture PC police have gotten about attacking free speech. And now I'm just a disenchanted American voter. By no means am I a conservative, though. I just now talk shit about both parties. And well, I got ghosted. I got the silent treatment. I apparently didn't say the magic words to become friends with this person I haven't talked to in almost 13 years. And so fucking be it if that's the case. My political opinion does not represent the sum of my personality. And the fact that I am a liberal means that I am open to new ideas. So let's not be foolish, folks. If we truly want to heal this nation, we cannot condemn one side over the other. We can't say you goddamn liberals or you fucking conservatives. There isn't necessarily anything wrong inherently with conservative or liberal values, but what you choose to do with those values can have a drastic effect on society. You know, can we stop this fucking bullshit of basically entrenching ourselves on either side of the battlefield? And anybody who doesn't agree 100% with one side or the other, it just happens to be wandering by the battlefield, gets shot because they were too much of a pussy to choose sides. I've had people call me a Nazi because I don't 100% agree with the political correctness and cancel culture. Like Louis C.K., I don't agree with what he did. Like, he did some not cool shit. But I still think his comedy's funny. And that's just the way it is. There are dozens of fucking examples on that. That was just one that came to mind because I absolutely fucking love comedy. Now what, never mind, I can't even remember his name. But like, I'm not going to cut somebody out of my life just because they don't necessarily agree with something. You know, like I said, I kind of love the idea of universal health care. Now, just because somebody else is afraid of having their government run their healthcare because they actually have this misguided notion about socialism's bad, despite the fact that they don't understand that the private health insurance companies actually already socialize the costs of healthcare. So a healthy person like me chipping in on the premium every month is actually helping somebody get subsidized and cover the costs for that insurance company for a pre-existing condition. It's already socialized on the back end, but because they don't let you know on stage, you're unaware of this. And so like I said, I'm somebody who will listen to Fox News. I will listen to CNN. You know, I listen on the daily when I'm out delivering mail. I'm listening to NPR and I'm listening to Rush Limbaugh. I really think Rush Limbaugh is a fucking turd of a human being. But at the same time, NPR is so blinded by their own virtued hubris that they don't even understand that they're kind of walking around in a clean suit with their nose up in the air. You know, when it comes to the two wings of our political system, you know, there's three sides to every story: yours, mine, and the truth. And things do need to change, but this nation does need to fucking heal. And so if you're not 100% for the Democratic Party, that doesn't make you a Nazi. And if you're not 100% for the Republican Party, that doesn't make you a liberal snowflake. So both sides, there are a bunch of dumbass people on both sides of the aisle that need to be fucking yanked by the goddamn ears and forced to sit down and realize that they're not that goddamn different. But where they are different, this is America. We're going to have differences. The farmer that works in the field 12 hours a day, getting his fucking hands dirty and smelling like cow shit by the time he gets back in to kiss his wife on the cheek and have a homemade dinner, he's not going to care about your gender pronouns. And the person that's living in an apartment in an urban area with purple hair, struggling with their own gender identity, they're too caught up in their own struggles to worry about the farmer who's wondering how they're going to pay the bills to get their combine fixed so that they can harvest the corn this year. Not everybody lives in your world. Your reality is your own. And the greatest part about America is that we are all able to exercise our rights, but our struggles are our own, and we shouldn't be projecting our problems onto other people who can't be bothered to take the time to join in for your cause. Now, there are some injustices that are going on, but that's not what I'm talking about for this particular episode. You know, a racist person isn't going to magically not be racist anymore just because you shun them away from your social circle, because that's how you expand the numbers in these neo-Nazi KKK hate groups. By shunning them away from your social circles, you're pushing them into the arms of the people who are going to teach them to hate. And nothing is ever easy, but we all got to roll up our fucking sleeves and have some really tough conversations going forward. It's the only way we can save America. Hopefully that gave you some food for thought. And for the love of all that is unholy, let's buckle up, America. It's about to be a rough ride, I think. That's it for this episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope for the best, preparing for the worst. But until next time, think about it.